Yo, what's up, everybody? Your boy JC. Everyday Thoughts is in the building. Everybody gather around. Should be a good one tonight. And tonight's topic is Nick Cannon saying he doesn't want to get married again. And that's a lot of men's perspective. So, special guest with me tonight, Ms. Johnson Wells. So, everybody gather around. Should be a good one tonight. How's everybody doing tonight? Hey, what's going on?
Hi there. Hey,
Hello?
can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. What's going on with you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. So, well, what's going on, everybody? So tonight's topic, we're gonna talk about our Nick Cannon's statement, talking about he doesn't want to get married again. He was married to Mariah Carey. So, I mean, what's your take on the situation?
Um, I'm
And you introduce yourself to everybody, though.
Hi there. I'm Joycelyn Wells of Joy Exposed, and so I'm joining JC tonight to talk about this topic of marriage. And I think it's just really interesting at this point because I'm in a space now that I don't necessarily know that I'll marry again. So I understand definitely where Nick is coming from. Um, and I understand that there's a change from the old process, or I mean, everything changes, but it went from you as a person, you had a certain level of appreciation of respect in the community if you were married and you had a family. But now that we live in a global community, of a, it's not a primary concern. So I could definitely understand where Nick is coming from by saying that he doesn't know that he'll ever marry again. So,
Yeah, I mean, I can respect that man's viewpoints. I mean, he at least went out there, he tried it, it didn't work itself out, but to each his own.
hmm
Some people they can go out there, they marry, it may last a year or two, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, but it all depends on the individuals and not to like look down on nobody that did try to get married and it didn't work itself out because any kind of relationship that you had and it didn't work itself out, it's a failure as far as like it not meeting success. So whether you're married or you got a relationship and didn't work stuff out, I mean, it still should be viewed the same, not differently. What's your take on that?
I think that I
Like,
think so. A couple things with that. The marriage itself may have not been successful, but getting to know yourself in those situations, that's really the key. Because, I mean, whether we want to admit it or not, we literally walk our path into our purpose on our own. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. So I think you can look at that from a couple of different ways. Like I was married for years. I was married for 17 years and I got divorced. And I don't look negatively on anything in the situation, but I am a better person because of it. I do know more about myself and going into situations and relationships because of what I learned about me in the marriage. So I don't know that we should chalk that up as a personal failure. It's kind of a situational failure, so it's almost like I tried something, it didn't work out. I tried a sport, it didn't work out. I tried this, it didn't work out. It doesn't mean you're less of a person, but you definitely take the lessons and move forward.
oh yeah, I mean, you learn your goods, the bad, what went right, what went wrong. You just kind of know that it's not your soulmate, because you gotta understand it's not your soulmate. Oh, and it's okay. You're gonna bump your head sometimes. You're gonna be like, damn, why did I marry this person? But at the end of the day, at that time, that point, that's what y'all want to do, and you can't really have no kind of regrets. Any kind of push forward, you got to go 100%. You
Right.
can't be one foot in, one foot out. That's why I feel like a lot of people they rush to get married, rush for relationships, and instead of just trying to cool off and try to focus on themselves, focus on their career, family, they just want to rush everything.
Right.
So, you know, just because you're being married doesn't mean you're unhappy. Doesn't mean you're not. Just because you're single doesn't mean you're unhappy as
Right.
well too. So it always depends on the individual as well too.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing when people rush into, because I mean honestly, I can look at my marriage and the things that were present with my ex-husband prior to us getting married were probably some of the same things that pushed me to the divorce. So we have to, I just talked about this on my podcast last night. No, not last night, the week before, is that when you know there's an issue, you can't expect the issue to disappear just because you hope it'll disappear. We have to, as complete people, as a person, enter a relationship and understand the idiosyncrasies with it and see if it's something that we can handle. And to what you were saying, when people rush into these relationships and then they're disappointed and they're waiting for a divorce, you're like, well, you knew it was happening before you married. It's not a surprise. It's probably not new information when the divorce shows up. You know what I'm saying? So, but I know as women, as a woman, we have a tendency to hope that things will change, hope that things will get better. And that's not the way that you go into a relationship. There has to be a level of transparency, honesty, openness about who you are and your expectations. And not rushing somebody into a marriage. Like, don't rush somebody in a marriage because you want to be married. You have to give people time to get to that place on their own. So, if you don't approach it with those things, you're definitely going to have an issue, and it'll sour you for the next opportunity. Even when you meet your soulmate, it'll put you on guard to their expectations and if there's going to be hurt involved. So it's definitely damaging on both parts.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to keep begging a man. You waiting 2, 3 years, some they waited, 5, 10 years to get married. I mean, you should have to sit there and push a man. A man knows within a year or two if this is your wife or not. I feel like you don't string her along. You don't feel like y'all, are connect, and then y'all feel like y'all need to go y'all separate ways. And I know what he's all the time. That's men and women. Got too many people out here getting hurt, getting let on, and you don't feel it's further for you. It's not your soulmate. Let that person go and let that person find peace and find happiness somewhere else.
Right. So, Jonathan, let me ask you this. How often do you think men will be upfront with women and tell them, hey, I'm just hanging out with you for the benefit of you. I'm not interested in marrying you. I can't see you as my wife. Do men ever just say that to women? I think, for me as a woman, I think that would be wonderful to hear up front. What do you think?
I mean, some guys that have honor and integrity, but sometimes you do run situations where you do tell women the truth, and a lot of times they try to, you want to try to change your mind, or feel like, okay, if I have sex with this man, he may change his mind, or like I said, a lot of guys they try to backdoor as far as to be dishonest, but some guys actually up front. But some women are so used to being lied to, being misled, that they can't really take the truth, and they kind of rather the guy being lied to as opposed to the dude just telling straight up, like, look, I'm not getting married, and I don't want any kids. I just want to hang out, have a good time. That's it.
Right.
But sometimes some women, they can't take it, and sometimes they get attached emotionally to the man, especially if they've already had sex with him. So just gotta be cautious. If a man tells you, no, I just want something good, a good time, then you gotta take him at face value.
Right. But do you think that women know when a man says that up front, that women have a choice, they have an option to whether they'll engage the guy or go on their separate ways? Like, for instance, if I knew that I wanted to be married and a man told me that, for me, I would be like, oh, that sounds nice, I'm not interested. And that would be the end of it. But you think because the women have the attention of a man and that they're going to engage with him, and they have his attention, they're going to engage with him and hope that his intention change? Is that how it plays out, you think?
Man, you can't change him, man. He has to change within himself. He has to be the type of woman that you can take around family, and you're the one. So he's confused, he's like, damn, like on the fence. Like, are you the one? So second guess himself. Then you're not the one.
Right.
So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, me too. And so, but we've talked about this before. I'm 50, so my ideas of what men say and what men do are different from the 20, 30-year-old, because I do have experience and wisdom on my side. But to me, it's like I can hear a man talking and already hear the blah, 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 blah bullshit But I think a lot of times, a lot of the younger women are still holding on to the uh, optimism of he's going to be, or I can help him to be. So that's really just a difficult space to exist in for people when you can't accept the truth or the words that's coming out of somebody's mouth, when you're more inclined to change it, try to change it into your fantasy than accepting the reality of it.
Yeah, I mean, you have your jigsaw puzzle. You can't you can't try to fit every piece into it. If it's not the right fit, then it's not the right fit. You can't just jam it in and expect it to work. So, just as men, like we do need to work on as far as being, more upfront, more intentional. Then same thing with women. A guy tell you up front that what he wants is you can't, you got to take him at face value. And if something changes, then you guys need to communicate that. Okay, well, I'm feeling you. Well, maybe okay, I wanted maybe a friend's benefit, but then like after that, okay, maybe I'm getting close to you now in my relationship, and you have to decide if that's what y'all two want, or y'all just want to continue to be, friends with benefits. So it all depends on where y'all mindset and where y'all both are heads are
But
at.
so we put the ownership on the men to be upfront. What about the ownership of the women to be upfront? If my intention is to get married and I'm hoping that my husband finds me, can I say I want to be married and are you my husband? I can say that up front. And if I said that to a man up front, what's his response to that if he's not interested?
I mean, a lot of guys they will sit there and lie. They'll try to put on the front like I'm trying to get married. And that's really
Right.
the hard thing
Yep.
about it, because they'll try to be like, okay, well, only way I can really get to this woman is if I lie, be deceitful to her. But yeah, my thing is, I mean, just have honor, just have integrity. She's looking for marriage. You're not looking for all that. I mean, just let her go and just go your separate ways.
Right.
But a lot of guys they might have integrity to just to be honest with themselves first, let alone try to be honest with a woman
What do
first.
you,
So that's the thing.
what do you think the hindrances are?
Like, go
What
on.
do you think the hindrances are for men to have integrity? Because I love men, and I said this last night. I love men, and I think men are powerful, and I would, in a sense, defer to a man to make a decision because of the ability to see in different spaces that I can't. But that's me revering men. It doesn't mean I'm um, putting myself at the risk of a man. But what do you think? What's the hindrance of men of being honest about their intentions and what they want to do? What do you think stops men from that, being honest about it?
I think what stops men is just the fear of not getting the woman. A lot of times it's like, okay, if I be honest with her, then she might not want the same thing. Or a lot of guys they feel like a lot of women they don't like sex, or well, no, if I'm just looking for sex, then it's like I can't just let her know that I'm looking for sex. I have to put on this facade. I'm looking for something romantic, look for this long term relationship, and I gotta sell this woman a dream, a pipeline dream. So I think a lot of this conditioning to a lot of men. You have to go out here and go on all these dates and stuff to try to get to a woman, but you talk to her, get to know her, understand her. You don't really have to do all that, extra stuff if you really know how to communicate.
Right. So I think and that's something that I mean, as a woman, that's something that I learned because I was so tired of the subterfuge and deception that I started speaking out ahead of time. This is what I'm trying to do. And as a woman, when I spoke out, this is what I'm trying to do, or I say, you know what, I'm not interested in being married. I don't want to date you. Like, excuse my language, Facebook, I'm only gonna fuck once. Like, if I say that to a man, they're like, well, wait, like, you don't want to go out, like, you don't want to. Men are then taken aback, even if it's what they want. They're still kind of like, what do I do? So for me as a woman, it put me in a power position to state, this is what I'm going to do. But it took a man stronger than me, aware of me, to gain my attention. So every man doesn't get your attention. Every man doesn't even want your attention. It's for a selfish, they're trying to interact in a selfish space. So as a woman, I had to realize that, because women, we look at men as, oh, this could be my husband, he could be this, and he could be great, and we look at him in the aspect of trying to change him into something. But when the man is who he is and he's capable of us as a woman, that's how he comes to us. So my advice to women would be like, say what you want up front. I want to get married. I'm looking for my husband. I'm trying to get married.
Yeah, and then yeah, also too, like I said, you just gotta be honest. Just guys, you have to learn how to have integrity. I mean, just you know what you know, you know what you want. Be a man about it and let her know, and be man enough to walk away. You can't lead her, you can't really do much for her.
Right. So I'm looking at this post from Markeisha Fuse. It says, I'm sorry, I skipped to the comments. What happens when you ask,
Oh no, I was gonna say
oh,
something
are
else.
you? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was thinking about something. No, I was thinking about like some women that like the problem is y'all talk a lot, talk about a lot of your insecurities or your past breakups, your past marriages, and that's kind of downfall. That's how a man can creep into you as far as he know how to play your
Oh,
weaknesses. That's easy to tell
I
him that.
totally agree.
So you gotta be like cautious of whatever information you're giving out to
Yeah.
the men. So we'll take that and we'll use that
You
against
know
you.
what? The funny thing that you said that, and Markeisha, I'll get to your comment in a second, but the funny thing that you said that when I learned that, men will ask you, what do you want? And I'll be like, I don't know what I want. Let me see who you are and see if it fills some of my wants. I don't know who I am with you. I don't know what I want from you. Be yourself, I'll be myself. And people have a hard time doing that because they don't know how to be themselves. They look for you to make a list. I want a man who this, I want a man who this, who opens my door, who you give a basic list and they feel like if they feel that, then they have your attention. So I totally agree with you on that. But women, we seek a place of comfort. We seek a comforting place. We seek a loving place. But we have to spend our time healing from that past crap. And if we don't unpack those yucky bags, then we don't get to a good place. And we do tend to talk a lot. And men come in and they fill in those, oh, he didn't take the trash out, and he didn't get my oil changed. And he did, and they'll do those things because that's the thing you're complaining about. And believe it or not, it's easy. Those are easy things. And men, they'll do that because they feel like if they do it, they're going to shut you up and then they'll get complete access to you. And that's a
Yeah,
very deceptive place to exist in. Yeah, you're right about that.
yeah, yeah. But let's go with Rakisha said. She said, "What happens when you ask, hey, what are you looking for in a relationship? You told them you're looking for marriage, but their response, well, if it happens, it happens."
So, Markeisha, for me, if somebody tell me if it happens, it happens, they're wasting my fucking time. I'm sorry. They're wasting my time. I'm out. Like literally, like I'm serious. If somebody tells me, it's like we'll see. I don't like we'll see. I have a whole YouTube video on yes, no, and we will see. I don't do we will see. I'm an adult. I make plans for my life. If somebody's tell me if it happens, it happens. All right, get back to me when you're ready for it to happen. But otherwise, I'm out. I don't play those games. Like hands down. But that's the equivalent of a man selling a partial dreams. Keep keeping you at the door waiting for him. It's like a dog waiting at the door for you to show up at 4 o'clock. You always show up at 4 o'clock. I'm gonna wait for you at 4 o'clock. And if I come, I come. But you're waiting for him. What if he never comes and you're waiting and then you're disappointed while he's meanwhile going and doing what he wants to do and you're sitting there sad, sappy, packing this baggage away. If it happens, it happens. All right, then. Bye. Keep it moving. That's dude. I'm serious about that. Don't waste my time. Mm-mm.
Yeah, well, that's just the guys just trying to really waste your time, really. We'll
Yeah.
see, or let's see where it goes. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, unless he's like, okay, yeah, I'm dating you, but I also have other prospects I'm dating, getting to know, and that's kind of okay because he kind of being upfront. He's telling you like, look, I like you, but I'm also dealing with other women too, so it's like that's okay. I think women they can
Yeah,
respect that. You may not like to hear it, but it's more honest, it's more upfront. Okay, I can
but
take that.
if it happens, it happens. Leaves the hope door open for a woman instead of if it happens, it happens. Leaves the hope door open. Like you're packing your hope chest for it to happen. But if a man can look at a woman and like, nah, you know what? I don't see myself married to you. You're you're not my woman. Because men know I'm not. Men know if they're gonna marry you or not. I'm not, you know what? I'm not going to marry you. I have a good time with you. I like that you share yourself with me. I like that I can dump my issues on you. I like that you can help me with my bills and give me a place to stay. You cook for me and do my laundry. If you can articulate, if they can say those things, these are things that I like, but you're not an extension of me. You're not my wife. You're not gonna be with me in 20 years. Like if they say that, then a woman's like, oh, okay, that's a little more forthcoming.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, you just gotta, just gotta know the signs. You gotta know, be upfront. Like, hey, let's see where this go, or let's just enjoy each other's company. Let's just take
Yeah.
it slow. I mean, just gotta know where you're at.
The funny thing is, I was talking about this on Facebook. The guy that I'm dating now, he's so great. When I started dating him, I was on some bullshit. I'll admit that. Cause I didn't care. Cause I was dating, I was about me. What am I gonna get? And when I saw him, I was like, yes, he gonna pay some bills. I'm gonna use him up. Like I was literally on that. Because that's the space that I was in. I didn't have a space for love. I wasn't building a relationship. I had already been tainted. I hadn't gone through a healing process. I admit all of that. So I told him this, like, shoot, I was looking at you to pay some bills. He said, I know. He said, but I was looking at you because I already knew that I loved you. I knew that I wanted to take care of you forever. I knew that you belonged to me. That's on it. Like, that's an honest statement. And that was 3 years ago. And that's exactly where he is. Still wants to take care of me, to make me happy. So, what we think as women is that we have to do some extraordinary three-ring circus act to get the attention of somebody for them to want to come to our circus, when the person who wants to come to our circus only needs to see us. So we get trapped in trying to figure out how to fill these pockets of need for people, for men, and we don't have to. We have to be ourselves. You be your authentic self. You do the things that you do. You make yourself open to meet people, all people, not just a person. You don't try to fill my baby mama this, my mama did this, my auntie did this. I don't have a good blah, 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 blah. You don't try to fix that. Just be who you are. And then the man who's capable of you will show himself. Meanwhile, you don't have to put on a puppet show.
Yeah, I mean, but what's your take on when guys say that marriage only benefits the woman? What's your take on
I
all
don't
that?
know that a man would ever say that to me. I don't think a
Like,
man
I mean,
a man wouldn't ever say that to me. And you know what? Marriage isn't a benefit to a woman. Marriage is a detriment to a woman because it's your responsibility of what you're going to do. If you're married, you now assume the responsibility of taking care of the house, taking care of the kids, and all the man has to do is what? Work. He's not going hunting. He's not hunting, bringing food in. He's not taking care of acres of cattle. He's not herding sheep. All he's doing is clocking into a building that's air conditioned, putting in his time and leaving and coming back to a place that you keep in addition to your job and raising the kids. Marriage isn't a benefit to a woman, it's a detriment. So if a man says that to me, that's a different conversation because what do you do? Are you building our house? Did you find the trees and chop them down and prepare the wood and build our house in your own hands? Then we can talk about it being a benefit to me because then it's my pleasure to take care of this house that you built with your hands. But if we paying a builder to build it, and my money's going into the same pot that your money's going in, and I'm trying to feed the kids and go to work and keep the house clean and do laundry, what's the benefit to me? What's the benefit to a woman for getting
yeah.
married? The benefit is to the man because he now has somebody to take care of him.
But also too, I mean, but now I'm saying if he's married, it's like like that chase is over with. Like, there are some guys that still want to go out there and still want to play the field, especially being married. But
Man, forget
to
that.
each his own.
We're women. We're women. Men always want women. Because we have a husband doesn't stop men from wanting us. We can get attention. We can walk into 7-Eleven and turn 10 heads. What's the benefit of having a husband? Waiting for him to come and think that we look beautiful, waiting for him to tell us that we're sexy, waiting for him to give us some attention. We can go outside and get the same thing that the husband is going to give on Wednesday and Saturday. Oh, wait, not Saturday because it's football season. Uh, Tuesday and Wednesday.
Sunday.
So Tuesday and Wednesday. So I don't know that it's not a benefit. What's the benefit for a woman to be married? What do you?
I mean, that's what I said too,
Yeah,
because more than likely you're gonna sit there and work your 8 hours, got to come home, cook, clean, still, maintain the household, maintain the kids. So it's like you getting all the benefits, but you getting out of the
abso-
situation in most cases.
absolutely. So and that's why I say that a man wouldn't come to me and say the women benefit, because I would be like, what's the benefit? So I think it's a difficult situation to be in, because marriage is a great place, especially if you found your soulmate and this is what you've chosen. We're going to be together. We're going to be married. I'm committing myself to you. You're committing yourself to me. Then the man who's committing, I talk to my guy. I call him Faceless Love because his job, I can't put him on social media, but and he can't put me on social. Well, we do put each other on social media, so whatever, and we do a lot of stuff together. But I told him, if you're interested in some extra or doing something different, then you have to do that on your own time. You're 50, you're almost 50. Go do it. You don't have to have a conversation with me about something that you desire. So that to me, if my husband, my guy, went out and decided I'm gonna go hook up with this woman, what does that have to do? It has nothing to do with me. The only thing it would have to do with me is that he's establishing um, parameters in our relationship, that if we have carnal desires outside of our partners, then we can go do that. But men establish that. So, but he doesn't lose out in the fact if we're married, because I'm taking care of him. I'm taking care of the house. I'm taking care of our children. I'm making sure the family is blended. I'm keeping the calendar active. I'm like, these are all the things that I'm doing. That's more work for me. That's not like we get married and all of a sudden I get to go have massages 3 times a week and I've got cleaning crew coming to the house. What's my benefit?
Yeah. And also too, a lot of guys talking about, marriage ain't, just a piece of paper or, really discouraging other brothers. If you're getting married, it's more of a woman's fantasy, but I feel like there are guys that do, there are guys that do want to get married, do want to settle down, they do want to find their real, and the other half, but it's just the media it just pushes that negative
No,
outlet that.
I think that there are men, I call them romantics, and there are men that want to provide a home, and they don't look at it as a negative. They want to provide a home for their wife and their children, and that means a lot to them. And there's a lot of respect in it, and honesty, and the integrity, and that's where it comes from. When you can say, you know what, I'm going to get pleasure out of making a home, building a home, and putting a home together for my family. A lot of guys want that, but I believe the guys who say marriage is a piece of paper, those are the guys who are afraid of it, because they're afraid that they can't take care of it, they can't maintain it, they don't know that they financially have the means to keep it together. I think they're afraid of it. It's kind of, have the same people who say, oh, college isn't for everybody, school isn't for everybody. You have people who say that. I don't want to work in corporate America, they only pay you this amount. I don't want to. People put these restrictions on what they're capable of doing based on the fear that they hold, and that goes toward marriage and family too. So the same guys who say marriage is a piece of paper are this probably similar guys that have 3 4 children by different women. So you can make a commitment that doesn't require you to make, you can't make a decision to get married, but you can let the courts decide what you pay in child support. So you can't make a decision for yourself, but you can allow the courts to make a decision for you. Come on. I mean, that's a personality issue if you can't make a decision for yourself.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, a lot of reasons why a lot of guys don't want to get married. I mean, some guys they like to chase, like just focus on their money, the cars. They just
And they should.
don't really want to be tied down.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like for each man, it's just different. Everybody really wants to be locked down. Somebody they just like being single and they just like and they're comfortable with that. I don't have an issue with
Right.
that. Whatever works for you. I'm not here to judge nobody.
Right. But if your intention is to be single, then your intention is to be single. You if your intention is to be single, but you get caught up feeding the dream to somebody who wants to be married, then that's on you for feeding the dream to somebody who wants to be married. And that's unfair. That's unfair if you want to be single and I want to be married, and then you drag me out for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, because you know I love you and you know I'll do anything for you, but you knew 20 years ago that you weren't going to marry me. And that's not fair. That's why it's not, no, no, no. I don't like that.
And also, you want to be on the same page too. You want to be evenly yoked. Y'all both praying to the same God or whoever y'all pray to. Everything to be congruent. Y'all gonna have disagreements, but for the most part, y'all get along. All the arguing, fussing, going back and forth. You don't need all that. Y'all need to be there for each other for the good, the bad, the different times. Just be there. You know, just love each other, which I need to do.
But that goes to the intention being the same. If my intention is tomorrow and your intention is today, we're not equally yoked. If my intention is
No.
planning tomorrow and you're like, well, let's see what happens, we're not equally yoked. I mean, it seems like a simple conversation, but it's not. But that is the truth. So though that's the way you have to be when you're talking about being equally yoked. If your intention is happiness, and I talked about this last week, because if the goal in the relationship is happiness, we're not competing with each other. Our goal is to get to happiness. Hey baby, let's find a way to happiness. Happiness is over here. I see it. I know that. Let's do this. So you have a whole conversation about getting to happiness. When you're bickering and fighting about moving forward, then that's not a place for you to be, because one of you is not ready to move forward. One of you is complacent in being in that space. So you have to respect that person is wants to stay in that space and leave them there, and you sever and move forward. Because you wake up in 10 years and you guys are in the same place, you don't get to tell the universe, I'm not ready to fulfill my purpose because I'm waiting on somebody else. We can't lose sight of the fact that we're of purpose, of God's purpose, and we can't get rid of that because of another human being. So if somebody's not moving when you want to move, or if somebody's not interested in what you want, what you're interested in doing, leave them where they are. It doesn't matter how yummy they are or you enjoy spending time with them. If he doesn't want to play and move forward, or she doesn't want to play, move forward, all right then, bye. See ya.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about both parties having similar core values and on the same page. You don't want any kind of like major disagreements, major conflict. That's what you really don't really want.
But it's temporary. If we have a major conflict because you don't want to be married and I want to be married, and we sever our ties, we're going separate ways. Our major conflict will last about 90 days. And that'll be more internal than external. But we've at least acknowledged the truth and we can move forward without digging a grave that's deeper and deeper for one of us not to get out of. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mind a conflict is when we're fighting against each other for a common purpose. But if we're fighting, we can't fight against each other for something you don't want. Like, for example, today, you sent me a message and said, let's talk about this. And what did I say to you?
You said hell no.
I said, no, I'm not.
You said hell
I
no.
said, no, I'm not interested. Right.
Nothing.
But hey, that wasn't a conflict for us because I was honest with you. Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's
you
good. Yeah.
respected the fact that I was honest with you, and we didn't go back and forth about it. And that's what men and women have to have in the conversation, is to be honest. Don't try to think, don't think for me. I would advise any man, don't think for me, and I'm not going to think for you. I'm going to speak from my place of comfort and you speak from your place of comfort. If we can get to a place of being honest with ourselves about what we want, it's going to be a lot easier. And we
Yeah,
can't save each other.
yeah. Like I said, I mean, I don't care how good he looks, what kind of car. I mean, y'all don't have the same core values, then y'all really wasting each
Yeah.
other's time.
And he's not going to change
And
for
you
yours.
want to be, yeah, like I said, you want to be progressing like month in and month out. You don't want to be stagnant and being the same spot a year from now or going backwards. You want to see progression.
Yeah, absolutely. I dated a guy years ago, and I remember us talking, and I said, "Let me." This is an honest conversation, and I said, well, you know what? We should buy a house. Like, let's buy a house. And he said, that sounds good. We'll see. That's what he said. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. He said it sounds good. We'll see. So for the next probably 9 months, I was looking, thinking, waiting for him to come to me with conversation about this house that we're gonna buy. Meanwhile, he's living in my place. So I'm waiting for him to come to me about this house that we're gonna buy. So he never came to me about it. Well, when my lease was getting ready to be up at my apartment that he was living in, I told him, I said, well, my lease is up and I'm not renewing it. And he said, oh, so you're going to put me out? And I said, I'm not putting you anywhere. I'm just letting you know that I'm not renewing the lease. Now, we had been seeing each other, kind of each other and other people for a couple of few years. But when he moved into my apartment, I was thinking that we're serious. So when I'm planning forward, he's not planning forward. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm out. And he was like, oh, you just gonna put me out? I'm like, no, you can stay here. I don't care. But that's the thing. And he never did anything different. He didn't say, oh, we're supposed to buy a house. He didn't, because it was self-serving. But that was on me for taking his words and turning it into something else, trying to turn it into something else. But it was also on me to recognize he wasn't finna do shit. But women hope. I
Yeah.
could have, if I would have renewed my lease, honestly, that's been, what's this, 2019? That's been 7 years ago. He could still be living with me right now. I could have still been maintained, and he would have never done anything different, right? But that was for me to be like, oh, I'm out. This is too much for me. This isn't going to go anywhere. But as women, we have to recognize the gray area screen bullshit to be like, oh, this ain't nothing. He ain't finna do nothing. And he moved out of my apartment and moved in with his mama. So that lets me know.
Oh no.
Yeah, that lets me know that I was feeling mama role.
Nah. That's the one thing. You don't want to be the mama, the girlfriend, the psychiatrist, the
Not
therapist.
going.
When you gonna be a girlfriend, you gonna be in that passenger side and just be in your place.
Yeah. So
That's how it is. You got a baby and you got to date, you got to raise and date them. You can't date him and raise him at the same
absolutely,
time.
you're absolutely right. So, but I think that's something that women, we don't want to. We always tread lightly because we don't want to hurt their feelings. We feel like we have the power to hurt their feelings because we see ourselves in a parental role over. Most of the time, we see ourselves in a parental role over men, and we don't want to hurt them. But it's hurting us. One of the posts my Facebook post of the week was, a woman will spend time raising a man to be his best, and during that same time, he's taking away from her to leave her at her worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all that trying to baby a man, trying to take care of a man. Nah, that ain't too good.
But we do it.
On his feet, he may or may not. I don't do all that.
Yeah.
Gotta know when to say no. We can't baby him. We can't mother him. He has a mother, hopefully. No, it's not your job. Not your job to be his
Not
mother.
at all. And not at all. You're absolutely right. So I think, so, we talk about people getting married. I think marriage is definitely a sacred space to exist in. And for the men and women, if a man asks a woman to marry him and she doesn't want to marry him, I think she owes it to him to say no. If a woman asks a man to marry him, every single time he should say no. A woman should never ask a man to marry her.
Oh no.
Never, 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 never.
Oh no.
Mm-mm.
Oh no, I see those little memes
You see that?
where the woman's on her knees. Nah, I don't want to see all that.
No.
Nah, that ain't your role. You still gotta
stay in your
wait a
lane.
man 5 to 10 years to get married and settle down. And now you're not you need to leave ASAP.
Yeah. But you know, and I think
You gotta sit there for postal. Nah, you need to
I
leave.
think the funny thing is that I totally agree with you. I think the funny thing is that there's not a great understanding of the power of men and the way that men exist, and men get to choose, because if men don't choose, that allows them the option of everything else. But when a man chooses, he's with it, he's committed to it. And I remember asking my guy about his ex-wife, and I was like, well, did you choose her or did she choose you? And he said, well, I think I chose her. And I said, oh, okay. Because when men choose, they'll stay married forever through everything, debt, illness, infidelity. When a man make a choice to get married, he gonna be there because he like, shit, this is what I chose. I saw her, she mine. He takes care of all of it. Alcoholism, it doesn't matter. And after he and I had talked for a while, and I said, what happened? So he was telling me this story. I said, it sounds like she chose you. And he was like, oh well, I guess she did. And that's when men leave a marriage, it's because the woman chose them, not because they chose. Because when a man make a decision, he's in it. Whether it's a lemon for a car, it's a horrible job. If a man goes into a job and it's horrible, he's like, I chose this. I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stick around. Let me find something else. Men stay steadfast in their decisions. So you can't pick a man and ask him to marry you, because he'll say yeah just because what you're offering, financial stability, the fact that you're cleaning the house, he's got a place to live, he's got new clothes and new shoes. Like he'll be like, yeah, I'll marry you because you're gonna pack my lunch. You gonna buy my mat for sleeping at kindergarten. Like you turn into the mom, and some men will take that.
Uh-oh. You gonna buy the man stuffed
Yep.
animals, Legos,
And
race
my
cars,
PlayStation, and
the Play-Doh, yeah, Xbox,
yep.
Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and Pokemon cards, all
Yeah,
this.
when my friends come over, you gonna cook for us. Baby, you gonna cook us some chicken wings, and such gonna spend the night, and he gonna move in because this happened. Yeah, that's all that craziness. You know that. That's me. They be all that crazy. That's too funny. But as far as Nick Cannon, I can understand why he married Mariah Carey, because it's Mariah Carey. And they said before they got married, Mariah Carey called Disneyland and said, I'm coming to Disneyland on this day. And they shut the park down for her and Nick. Now, wouldn't you have married Mariah
Oh,
Carey even if it was for 15 minutes?
oh wow.
Yeah, you would have, right? 15 minutes, you would have been like,
Oh
I'm Mariah Carey husband. I'm Beyonce husband. Well, before Beyonce was Beyonce, I'm a Mariah Carey husband, and so I can understand why Nick would get caught up in the glamour of Mariah. But when you think about Nick and the person that he is, if it had not been for Mariah, I don't know that he would have ever married anyone. He never seemed like the person that would be married. His personality never gave that off that I would be married. He doesn't seem weak.
yeah. I mean, and also too, there's guys that's married or women that's married that they're still single though. They're still acting single.
Yeah, and they
You know.
can. Eh,
And like I said, as far as guys, it's like you're not really maintaining your dog within you, your your thirst, your hunger.
Mm-mm.
Which I feel like you get to a point you gotta know when to say no and just respect your honor, respect your wife.
Yeah.
That's what you choose to do, or don't go down that road and you still got your little habits in you, but you still want to go out and be a little Mac Daddy.
Yeah,
So
well, I don't know if you don't have enough.
just be sincere when you say I do. That's all I say. Both men and
Well,
women.
I was single for years, and my question is like, hey, where in the budget do you have for the mistress? Like, where's the mistress money? Like, do you have that budgeted? Does your wife know that you have money budgeted for a mistress? And believe it or not, if you ask a pointed question, men will answer it. Hey, where's the money for the mistress? They'll be like, oh, that's under entertainment. Or do your wife know that you have? He's like, nah, she doesn't know necessarily, but I have money set aside to take care of the things that I want to do. And when you ask pointed questions, men have answers for you. That's the thing that's funny. So if men are married and they're still playing, but their playing involves coming to see you or screw you while they're supposed to be going out to get a loaf of bread or pick up some diapers. That's not your guy. He's not ever going to be your guy. You're giving him like 15 minutes of time because he has a cover to go to the store to pick up something. But women have to be aware of that and not get caught up on that bull crap of, oh, he's this and he's this. And you know, his wife is maintaining the house while he's out playing at the grocery store. Playing at the grocery store. Forget that crap. And that's not somebody that's
Like I
doing
said,
anything good.
No, you want to get somebody who's disciplined, who has integrity, not just faithful in your presence, but faithful without your presence. I mean, in your text messages, phone, at work,
Yeah.
in the grocery store, everywhere. That's where faithfulness happens, not just when y'all see each other, but outside of that as well too.
Right. And I said, I always talk, women always say they want consistency. And I'm like, consistency is part of your character. It's not a fluke. When you're consistent, it's across the board. It's not you're consistent in one place. Consistency begets you. It's who you are. So it's not a mistake. So if you ever have to ask a man or talk to a man about consistency, it's not who he is. I would venture to say this. If you're talking to a man about consistency, ask to see his credit report. Because if he's consistent, he's consistent across. It's a part of who he is. He's built that into the fabric of him. His credit score reflects it. His work integrity reflects it. The way that he takes care of his house reflects it. What he like, all of those things are consistent in him because he's found a way to blend them in. If you're looking for him to be consistent and he's not, then he's probably not across the board. So you have to be really careful with that. That's a big deal to me. So I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, Hannah said, I like a man that remembers the details and is tuned with himself and me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I agree with you, Hannah, on that one. And when men remember the details, it's important to them. They're not just, you ask, this is my thing, Hannah. I'll be like, oh, what'd you have for lunch today? Or what'd you eat for dinner today? Oh, I ate some chicken and rice. I was like, I want to hear, oh, I ate at Chipotle and I had the grilled chicken. It had rice and peppers. And like, it's when men pay attention, they pay attention. It's not a fluke. And that's the thing, Jonathan, I think women don't understand is that women, not that they don't understand, but they miss because the things that men love, they pay attention to. Like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Nobody's business.
Yeah, like yeah, man. Any time about a football game, basketball game, he'll put up stats and records from 5, 10 years ago. But sometimes guys they won't remember anniversary or your favorite bowl bath or whatever. But you get in a situation, he's not in tune with you. He's not in sync with you.
And they want to pass for it. And it's like, oh, I had this going on. Wah, 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 wah. I always say men whining is like a big turn off for me. So I think that we have to be very aware of that. And women too. We all have to be very aware that our time together is short. So the time that we spend together, let's spend it together. And it doesn't have to be based around a lot of money. It doesn't have to be based around something extravagant. Our time is our time. Make it special for us, whatever it is. But if you don't remember the details or it's not important for you, then I'm going to keep it moving. And let's see what happens. If it happens, it happens. The person who says if it happens, it happens, they ain't remembering shit. All they going to do is show up when they hungry or they clothes dirty. They going to come in the house, get something to eat, get some cooch, take a shower, sit on the couch and be like, oh, I brought my dirty clothes. Can you do my laundry? Can I come pick my laundry up later?
But yeah, though, I mean, on that note, I gotta head on out.
Yeah.
Good talking to you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, just tell everybody about you, about part of your channel.
Okay. So, hi everyone. I'm Joycelyn Wells with my podcast is called Joy Exposed, and it's on Wednesday nights at 9. My website is joycelynwells.com. Joy, add the Y in there, otherwise it won't come up. But joycelynwells.com, there's lots of yummy details on there. I try to do something often. I'm an author. I have 3 books out. I'm finishing the 4th. I'm going to be featured as an author at this in LA next summer. So it's a lot of great stuff going on. I'd love to connect with all of you. And Jonathan, I always appreciate you. Thanks for thinking of me when you do your podcast. And whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
All right, until next time, everyone have a blessed night. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure everybody y'all share this video. Make sure y'all check me out. Check Joycelyn out
Thank you.
too. Every time you can see any kind of debate, any kind of topics, whatever on this channel. So until next time, everyone have a blessed night. I'm out. Peace.
Good night. Mwah.